blatantly offside.
Yeah.
But they seem to take the VAR took some time to rule on it that it was offside, but it was just a few toe really over from the defender. So
Was,
that
yeah.
was a bit unlucky. But also with Harry Kane, I mean, I've always felt he's an excellent footballer, both
Right.
at Spurs and of course at Munich, and he broke all their records in Munich last season, and probably will do the same again this year.
Yeah.
So I think anyone calling for him to be dropped
Yeah.
have got very short memories. I mean, I think probably because the Euros, and he, like most of the team, didn't perform that well. I don't think he even scored a goal, if I'm correct in thinking that.
Yeah.
But it was kind of a corporate, a general thing amongst that team. They were not performing, although, of course, they did progress well through the competition to the final. But yeah, I would think Harry Kane should be there for a while. Yeah, he was doing his 100th game last night for England, wasn't it? Wasn't
Yeah.
he?
100
He got a
caps. Yeah.
golden cap and
Yeah.
so on. And and he's got 68 goals now, way ahead of anybody else. Difficult to see that being beaten
Yeah.
for a long time. But I would have thought he may well go on to 110, 120 caps for England. So I think 100 by no means should they stop there. He's an excellent footballer, great goal scorer, and importantly, he's a good captain. You know, he's a thoroughly, as far as we can see, a thoroughly decent man as well, which counts for a lot in terms of having the respect of the other players in the team,
Yeah.
as well as the public. So yeah, he's a first class example for young people in football as to how to hold yourself, how to behave properly on a football pitch. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm a great fan of Harry Kane,
Oh.
definitely.
Oh, good. Good. Good.
And Ian Shaw as well, I might say. I think Ian Shaw is an excellent pundit.
I'm thinking, who's he in short?
So that went over your head a bit, then, didn't
I
it?
know. I'm like, who's he in
I don't
short?
know where you got in.
Yeah, he got me with that one. Right. So the next one was because we're talking about the England game now, aren't we? So the next one I was going to talk about was the previous match where, ironically, two players that used to
Yeah,
play that
yeah, absolutely.
used to play for the opposite team scored against the opposite team,
Now I'm
and
going to ask you. I'll interrupt you and ask you, what were their names, Emmy or Cuz? What were their names? Come on,
it's
let's have it.
it's not Ian.
Declan Smith.
It's not Ian and Shaw.
So Declan,
I
I'll
think
give you the
it's
first name.
Declan Rice and
Yeah,
Grealish. Jack, is it Jack Grealish? Yeah, that's it.
Jack Grealish. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. In fact, I don't think Grealish actually played. He may have played for one or two of their younger teams. Rice, I think, may have played for Ireland once. So it wasn't like Carsley, who did 40 odd games. But yeah, it was ironic and it was great for them that the two people who they were booing every time they got the ball were the two goal scorers. I mean, I was pleased Grealish celebrated. Not again, he didn't rub it into the Irish fans, but he celebrated amongst his colleagues, which is good. Rice didn't want to do that, and he said afterwards it was because he didn't want to insult his grandparents, who both died now.
All right.
And I sort of can understand that as well because they were
Yeah.
Irish through and through. So yeah, I thought it was good that the two scorers happened to be the people the crowds picked on. It was often like that at Palace with a player we had called Wilf Sahar. You may remember
Yeah.
Wilf.
Yeah.
He's currently in on loan in Lyon in France from Galatasaray. That was another one we struggled on last week. The name
We did.
Galatasaray, wasn't it?
Galatasaray.
The
Yeah.
Turkish team. So
Yeah.
he's over there in France at the moment. But he was an excellent footballer, probably still is, for Palace for some years. But opposition teams and opposition fans used to love needling him. And really, he did have a very thin skin sometimes, but overall, he did answer the boos and the needling in the best way by running through, beating three people and scoring. And of
Yeah.
course, when you are being booed and everything else by the opposition fans, the best way to running through, beating three people and scoring. And
Yeah,
of course, when you are being booed and everything else by the opposition fans, the best way to answer it is to score a goal against them.
yeah, sure.
And Wilf Sahar used to do that with aplomb, as we might say. So yeah, it's I don't think Declan Rice and Jack Grealish let it affect their game. It didn't seem
No,
to, but
no,
it could do. You could, when you every time you touch the ball, when you get the whole stadium virtually booing you,
yeah.
it must affect some people, but it didn't seem to affect them, did it?
No, it didn't. It didn't. They were very professional about it, weren't they? They
They
didn't
were.
respond. I think players make mistakes sometimes where they sort of want to give a response to the booing, and that gets out of hand,
Mm,
don't it? It's like you're fueling the trouble.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Pouring petrol on the fire. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
So they just the way they handled it, yeah, they handled it quite
was
well.
good.
Yeah. Now I was going to talk about Ronaldo on 900 goals, and Ronaldo says he wants to bring up the tally up to 1,000 goals for in a lifetime. And I think it's a 900. It's 901 now, so he's got 99 to go. Um, Ronaldo was somebody that I have not publicly but subconsciously at the back of my mind written off as one of the ones that was going to retire soon, like Luis Suarez. Now, talking about Luis Suarez, um, the only thing the only thing I seem to remember him for, you're
With
laughing at
biting someone. But I'm just impressed that you got his name right. Not Louis Shaw, was it?
not Louis Shaw.
Sorry, I shouldn't laugh at you on that.
This is what the show's about. Yeah, so yeah, so I remember I seem to remember, just like I remember Zidane for the headbutt. It's like
Yeah, yeah,
so,
yeah,
whenever his name comes up, I think, yeah, headbutt. And then Luis
yeah.
Suarez, I just think the bite. But
I tried. Who did he bite? He bit somebody. I can't
he
remember who
did,
it
yeah,
was.
and I think it was when he was at Liverpool. Now I can't remember if it was an
Yeah, it
Arsenal
was.
player or a Chelsea player. I know they were playing one of those teams from South, when that incident
He sort
happened.
of bit him on the shoulder, didn't he, or something? Yeah. It's a strange thing to do, wasn't it? Very strange thing to do. Mind you, he was a very good footballer. You got to say,
Was. He was till he retired. Yeah, he was
wasn't
a very
he?
good
Yeah,
footballer, and we're gonna miss Ericsson as well, aren't we? Sven Ericsson, who died.
yeah. He was a good chap.
Yeah, he
Good
died
chap.
last
Good
week.
man.
Yeah, and I remember him for dating that model. Oh, what was her name again? The Swedish model. Uh,
Ulrika Johnson.
that's it. Yeah, yeah,
That's it.
yeah. That's what I remember. That's what I remember him for.
Names are not your strong point, are they,
You know,
cuz?
not today anyway. Yeah,
I've
so
just realised that's why you call me bruv, because you can never remember my
I
name.
never remember your name. No, I'm getting that way now.
Yes. Anyway,
Yeah,
Ulrika Johnson was the woman, but a few other women as well. He was a bit of a ladies' man,
it
wasn't he?
was on it. Yeah, yeah,
He was.
it was. Yeah,
But he
yeah.
seemed to be a very decent guy with it. I mean,
It is.
not that
It
a
is.
ladies' man can't be a decent guy, but he was a bit of a salt of the earth type. I think he was genuine.
It
What you
was.
saw was what you got, really.
Yeah,
And he
yeah.
knew his football. He did know his football.
It did. It did. It was a good
Yeah.
manager. Wow. Yeah, and I was just thinking, because sometimes when you have a ladies' man with lots of money, you get scandals, don't you? But he was never involved in anything like that. He lived a respectful.
Well, there was though at the FA because he actually had an affair with, and I can't remember her name, but there was a woman at the FA who worked there.
Right,
I think she was quite a high-powered secretary of one of the top guys.
right.
And it turned found out, it came to light that he was having this affair with her as well. So he certainly, as we might say, he put it about a bit, didn't he? He was surprising because he didn't give off that impression when
Yeah,
he was interviewed after matches and so on. He just came across as a really, you know, salt of the earth sort of guy. And in many ways, I think he was. But yes, he had his temptations, obviously.
yeah,
Again, he became very rich as England manager. I think even then, I mean, I might be not exactly right, but I think he was earning £6 or £7 million a year, which few years ago now was a lot of money as it is now.
yeah.
So that is quite an aphrodisiac, isn't it? That sort of wealth. So
That's
yeah,
something we're
that's
going to
an
discuss.
interesting.
That's something we're going to talk about on the alien spaceship because it seems to go hand in hand, don't it? Money and this
It
scandal.
does.
Yeah,
It
because
does. Yeah.
yeah, it does. Yeah, right. So I was talking about Ronaldo, um, and his 901 goals. Do you think there's any chance he's going to be at the 2026 World Cup? What do you think?
I would say 2026, is it? What have we
Yeah.
just had? The Euros, haven't we? Yeah.
Yes.
So it could
So,
be. I don't think he will be because I don't think he performed that well in the Euros
right.
for Portugal. Not that he was so much slow, but he wandered around up front in the middle, excuse me, and very often he wasn't getting the ball. I don't know whether the players had a point of not giving him the ball or whatever, but he didn't seem to be very effective. So, but even apart from that, I can't see him getting another 100 goals. I may be wrong, but the
Yeah.
other thing is, it's been claimed he's the first footballer to get 900 goals. But
Yeah.
I can remember reading Pele, I think he died not that long ago, didn't he? The
Kelly,
great Brazilian
yeah.
footballer of years ago.
Yeah.
But I'm sure I've read over the years that he always claimed, or the records are there, that he scored more than 1,000 goals. So I don't know whether Ronaldo's claim is based on something a bit different. I don't know, but Pele is generally known, I think, that he scored well over 1,000 goals. So maybe Ronaldo isn't the first player to do it. But I
Yeah.
mean, to answer your point, I don't know. I can't see him at any decent level of football. Um, and where is he? He's in Saudi Arabia, I think,
He's
isn't
in
he?
Saudi Arabia at the
Yeah.
moment.
So I mean, that's not exactly that's not a tough ask. Probably is, but not in the terms of the Premier League or the Spanish or Italian leagues.
Yeah.
It's a much lower level of football. So maybe someone like him, if he can score 3 or 4 goals every game, then maybe he would do it. But
Yeah.
they wouldn't have the same meaning, I don't think, as most of the 900 he's scored up to now.
Yeah. Well,
But again, he's a great player, great
yeah.
player.
Well, he's certainly counting it as part of the goals.
He
So
must be,
yeah,
yeah, must
yeah.
be.
Having said that, I don't think they had that many competitions back in Pele's day anyway. I don't
I don't
think.
know. I mean,
Yeah.
he always played in Brazil, didn't he? I don't think
Yeah.
he ever. It wasn't the time when many players came over here. I mean, it was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Um, so I have no knowledge of where he was, except I think he was someone who stayed in Brazil. But
Yeah.
we did see him. He was seen in the World Cups and things over the years, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And even now they show clips of his brilliance. He was a wonderful footballer,
Was one too.
brilliant footballer.
Yeah. And so was Maradona as well.
Maradona was, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Maradona as well. Yeah.
Shame he took to drugs after his career, really, which
Ah,
probably ultimately killed him. But in his day, he was magic. A bit like Messi, really,
yeah.
similar sort of player. Both Argentinians, of course.
Argentinians, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
And Argentina's doing really well in the world scene now, aren't they? I think they won the
I'm not
Copa.
sure. Are they? Did they? They won the Copa
I think they
America
won the
or something,
Copa
did they?
America. Yeah. They won the Copa.
Yeah, they've always been a pretty good team,
Yeah.
Argentina.
Yeah. And I think we didn't get to hear of it because it was going on the same time that the Euros was going on, I think. The
Right.
Copa
Yeah.
America. And I think that's why we missed it. But yeah. Those are great players, aren't they? Uh,
They
so
are,
yeah.
absolutely.
So there was a few. What do you think of the England squad? Because there were a few players missing. Jude Bellingham, for instance,
I think
was
he's injured, isn't he? He's
oh
got an
yeah,
injury.
also he's injured. Right. So okay. So
Yeah.
yeah. What do you think of Eze? I know he used to play for Palace. Does he still play for
Well, he
Palace?
still does. He still
Ah,
play. Yes, he didn't go. I'm glad to say in the window, the
right.
transfer window.
Yeah,
Yeah, he tends to come on quite late. He did the other day as a substitute,
he
so
did.
he doesn't really get too much time to sort of get to the pace of the game. But he's a brilliant footballer, and I hope in the medium term Palace hang on to him because he glides past people. He did it in the Euros on the few times he came on for England. He seems to go past defenders as if they're not there, and he can do two or three, and he'll turn. And he's got a lot of skill. So Eze is a fabulous footballer, and if and when he does get transferred, he'll attract a pretty huge fee. But I hope he doesn't. Palace have got to start hanging on to these people. I'm glad we've kept Mark Gahey.
Yeah,
I think he came on last night in the
he
game,
did.
didn't he?
Yeah, he came on.
He
Yeah, I
didn't
think
start him,
no, he
but
didn't.
he's a very good player. Newcastle didn't manage to get him, so that's good. But Eze, I think, is very good. But as to the whole of the England team, there were one or two I didn't really know much about at all. I can't even readily think of their names. But I mean, I know Rico Lewis, is it? He's at Man City,
Yeah,
quite a short fellow, and he's obviously got a great future. He just got that quality that someone of his young age probably wouldn't normally have.
yeah.
And there was another player who was very short, um,
Right. I think I know.
something like 4'6", I think. Well, perhaps not 4'6", but I think 5'6",
He got
somebody. And I
green
think he
hair.
plays is it in France or Germany?
Right. I
I'd
can't.
never heard of him actually. I can't
I've
think of
never
his
heard
name
of
now.
him. Yeah, there was one that I've never heard of, but I've seen him. I've seen him twice. Let me just see if I can find him. Because I saw him yesterday, and who's this guy? Uh,
I wondered who he was, I must say. But
right. So
he and Rico
Anthony
are very
Gordon.
short players, aren't they?
Is it Anthony Gordon?
No, Anthony Gordon plays for Newcastle.
Right.
He's
Uh,
okay. He's been doing quite well on the wing for England. Quite like him.
yeah. I think, like you said, I think overall well, we had a good lineup yesterday. I mean, the only person that would like to be included there were Cole Palmer. So I wonder why.
Yeah.
I wonder
Well, I
why.
think he called it. Two or three of the usual players called in injured, and one sometimes questions are sometimes asked when it's they're getting ready for their clubs. There's the international break weekend this past weekend, but you can get the most minor niggle and they will call in sick, perhaps at the behest of their clubs. You
Yeah,
don't want to go and play for it and then find you get more than you make a small injury worse. So I think you never quite know how serious that is. But Cole Palmer is one of those. I can't remember the other two, but I think there were three who called in who said they were too injured to play.
all
So
right.
I suppose that meant that Carsley tried out these other players
Yeah,
who might otherwise not have been there. But yeah, I think as you said, it wasn't a bad performance,
it wasn't.
but it didn't look to me anything like what might become the settled England team, perhaps
All
because
right.
of the likes of Palmer and the others
Yeah,
not being there. I mean, I thought Gay might start last night. He started the last few. He's very good. But yeah, he's got to give others a chance as well. But I don't sense that will be the settled team.
yeah. I think Anthony Gordon was really good last night,
He
particularly.
was.
Yeah, I think it was very good last night because I thought he was playing. I thought he was playing the left wing, but it
Well, he
was
was.
he was
He
interchanging with
went over, didn't he?
Saka. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's what how they do, as you know, they do that sometimes. But
yeah.
generally, he was on the left, and he linked up well with Jack Grealish,
I did.
who in turn linked up with Rico Lewis. So that left side was looked pretty good to me. That wouldn't be a bad way forward. And I thought Kane was much more playing in the position that he's done for Spurs and for Munich. He wasn't kind of getting caught in odd positions. He was there to get the goals, and
Yeah.
he delivered.
And he
So
did, yeah.
I thought much of the tactics, the shape of the team, as far as I could see, looked good. It looked fine, but there were just maybe two or three players who I wouldn't really associate with being full internationals, if you like. But
Yeah.
they were just getting a run out to see how they coped, get a bit of experience, which is not a bad thing for a manager to do, of course.
Yeah. Yeah. I suppose you have to try them out just in case of an injury. So
Absolutely. Yeah.
they can
Yeah.
easily substitute. I mean, I had a look at the substitute bench. So you had Eze, which he fielded, Pope, Madueke, Angel Gomez last night was good as well. Uh,
Yeah. He might have been the other small one. I think he
all right, was
was.
it? Yeah.
Very,
So
very short. Angel Gomez. Yeah. He was quite good. Yeah. Well, I think clearly anyone there is going to have a basic ability to be chosen in the first place for the international team. So I'm not knocking any of them.
yeah,
But I think I would like to see whoever turns out to be the new manager, whether it's Carsley or someone else, to start to get together a team, obviously a squad,
yeah,
but the basic team, so that when we get to the next World Cup, they know each other, they know how they play. We've gone into too many of these Euros and World Cups
yeah,
with the players looking as if they'd only met the day before. The tactics can't have developed properly. And I've always wondered why successive England managers don't get a team and stick with it broadly, 3 to 6 months before